What is up, people? It is me, Monster58, and welcome back to another video review. And today we're going to be taking a look at one of the most highly anticipated figures of this year, the Transformers Studio Series 86 Voyager class Starscream. And finally, with Starscream, we now have the original trio completed with this new Studio Series 86 Seeker mold, which is really exciting. And obviously, that is a big reason to why this figure is highly anticipated. And obviously, Starscream being arguably top 3 most popular characters in the entire franchise, yeah, this is going to be a figure that is really sought after in general. And so, take a look at the box here. So, you can see the nice artwork of Starscream in his robot mode as well as in his jet mode. You can see the Transformers in 27 steps, the Transformers Studio Series, Transformers the movie, the Starscream right down there. See more nice artwork of his robot mode that we saw in the front, just a little bit bigger on the side here. See some more nice artwork with the Transformers 40th anniversary logo right there as well. And then finally, your obligatory product shots on the back, as well as how he appeared in the 1986 film, obviously, as the character in the figure represents this as well. And so, when it comes to this figure, however, I will say before we get into the actual review, there's one big issue with this figure, and it's a figure that it shares with, it's an issue that it shares with Prowl, but I think it's exacerbated here, but we'll talk about them more as we get probably into the conclusion of this video is where I really want to talk about it. But overall, when it comes to the packaging, I think they did a fantastic job, folks, and so without further ado, alrighty, folks, here we have the Transformers Studio Series 86 Voyager class Starscream in his jet mode. And guys, I gotta say, he looks fantastic. Now, thanks to this user, I forgot your name, I'll put a screenshot of the comment on the video right now. But thanks to this user, male, female, whoever you are in between, thank you so much for providing this comment. The one thing that was pointed out to me about the Earthrise mold versus this new Studio Series 86 mold is I believe the Earthrise mold is more akin to the F-15E Raptor in comparison to this new Studio Series A6 one, which is closer to the F-15C Raptor, which is more G1 accurate, which is really cool. But obviously, when it comes to the jet mode, this is basically what we saw with Thundercracker and Skywarp, just obviously in Starscream colors. And I can't deny I am much more partial to the Starscream colors because, well, when it comes to the trio, I think everyone can agree that he is by far, you know, being the leader, one of the most prominent characters in the series. My personal favorite of the three always has been. I find his character hilarious in the original G1 cartoon. The amount of times he tries to take over the Decepticons only to be thwarted by either his own stupidity or by Megatron or by both of those things at the same time is very funny. But when it comes to this jet mode, it shares pretty much everything that we know with the original Skywarp as well as Thundercracker. So take a look at here. You can see the very nice sort of dark gray that we got here. Well, I'll bring in the Earthrise one here in a few so you guys can see the actual comparison between the two. But the very nice red, this is a much deeper red than I expected it to be, but it's very nice. Obviously, see the Decepticon logos as well. The nice blue as well here. Obviously, the nice landing gear that is applicable on this one, so you can just flip it up there, and then you can just use it and flip it down there. The cockpit also opens to reveal the actual cockpit itself. Not much in there, but nice that the cockpit actually opens in and of itself. And just very nice all around. Again, my only two major issues that have repeated in the Skywarp and Thundercracker reviews is the big hole here is a little bit annoying, as well as the feet being exposed here on the back of the jets. It's kind of annoying, but overall still a really fantastic jet mode. I mean, it just looks really good. Just a little bit better than it did with the Earthrise one. And so speaking of, this is actually a fair bit different than the Earthrise one. The only thing it's really missing are the stripes here on these wing bits. I don't know what they're called, but that person who obviously left that comment is much more knowledgeable than me on aircraft. I don't know what these are called when it comes to aircraft. When it comes to aircraft, the machines I know more or less are cars. So at the end of the day, planes are a complete anomaly to me with who they are, what they are, the models, X, Y, Z. But yeah, you'll see here, we're going to put this off to the side here, and there's a much more significant differences between this and the Earthrise one when you have them side by side. And here's the Earthrise one. As you can see, this one is a much more brighter gray. It's definitely still gray, but this one's a much more darker gray, which is definitely more akin to the actual G1 cartoon, much more accurate to it. You can also see the reds. I told you the reds are also a bit different. It's a little bit deeper on the Earthrise one, on the wings at least, but then when you look at this red here, this is a bit of a deeper red, especially when you come down to the body here, especially when you're looking at the bodies here on the bottom. You can see that the red here is definitely darker than the old Earthrise one, plus the blue. This is a much more vibrant blue. This is a much more like pastel style blue, but it's still bright. They're both very bright blues, but this blue is definitely akin to more closer to what Thundercracker's colors are actually like. This is more akin to just a regular sort of sky, very pastel-y looking blue. But you can obviously see there's a lot of other differences, especially when it comes to the molding. That's obviously the same across when it comes to, versus the Earthrise ones for Skywarp and Thundercracker as well. But at the end of the day, I really do like how this looks. It just looks cleaner, smoother, much more streamlined. I really do like this. Now, I know that given that comment, I assume that these are different jet models entirely, but at the same time, these still look really, really good. Like, they still both look good, but this obviously takes the cake for me when it comes to it. And so, really, really good stuff all around. I'm just very, very happy with it. And so, what we're going to do, we're going to get rid of the Earthrise one, and we're going to do a fair bit of size comparison. So, everyone, get ready. Here we have him with the Transformers Legacy United Infernac Universe Deluxe Class Magnius, the Transformers Studio Series 86 Deluxe Class Bumblebee, the Transformers Studio Series 86 Deluxe Class Prowl, the Transformers Studio Series 86 Voyager Class Shockwave, the Transformers Studio Series 86 Leader Class Soundwave, the Transformers Studio Series 86 Commander Class Optimus Prime, his leader, the Transformers Studio Series 86 Leader Class Megatron, and finally, it wouldn't be a review if I didn't show this off. Here he is with the Transformers Studio Series 86 Voyager Class Skywarp as well as Thundercracker, and man, these guys look fantastic together. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to actually show you, I'm going to put in the Earthrise ones, and you can see, for the most part, exactly sort of the differences between them and how much we've changed these molds at the very least to better them for the cartoon accuracy over the years. So you'll see these guys, but they look fantastic together. I'm so excited to have them. But here, they all are in their Studio Series 86 ones. And here are the Earthrise ones. Again, you can see the differences. I know that the angle kind of makes it a bit awkward, but I really do think that the Studio Series 86 ones just absolutely nail this a bit better. Again, these are a good trio still. This Earthrise one, very, very nice. But at the end of the day, if you're looking for cartoon accuracy, this new mold just blows all these guys out of the water. It's not even close, in my opinion. Alrighty folks, and with all that out of the way, it's time to get into the transformation, which I'm not going to bother showing to you. The reason is because I've already done the reviews for Thundercracker and Skywarp, and if you wish to actually look at the transformation, it's in the Thundercracker review, which is the first release of these three for this new Seeker mold. And so if you wish to look at the transformation, I'll provide a link in the upper right, as well as a link in the description to both the Skywarp as well as Thundercracker reviews if you wish to take a look at those. Highly recommend you take a look at those if you wish to see if you want to pick up the Starscream in general. And so folks, we're going to take Starscream from looking like this in his jet mode and into this in his robot mode. And guys, there's never been a better mainline Starscream in reference to the G1 cartoon in terms of accuracy. I mean, this is by far, without a shadow of a doubt, the best mainline Starscream we have ever gotten, and it's not even close. If you prefer the Earthrise aesthetic, you love what you love. I'm not going to tell you different, but guys, this is just simply fantastic. I absolutely love how this guy looks. I'm really looking to Nova Storm, Ion Storm, Sunstorm, as well as Acid Storm in this mold. And I really do hope that we get the Coneheads in this mold as well, because it just looks so good. Taking a look at the details here, actually, well, what we'll do is we'll set this guy out to the side here, and we'll put the G1 model right here so you guys can see how just good he looks. I mean, he just looks simply fantastic when compared to his on-screen model. It's basically one-to-one. Like, I have no major complaints whatsoever with how it looks. It's just absolutely glorious, and I'm so happy about that. And what I'll even do before we talk about more stuff, let's just bring in the Earthrise one. I mean, you can see the difference is pretty stark. I mean, this just... I'm sorry, I just don't see how this in any way is better than this one, especially when you consider, the paint, the articulation. I just think that this one does the G1 so much better, and I don't know, I can see you prefer maybe all of this nice molded in detail across this guy, but man, this just looks so much better in every possible way. So we're going to set this guy off to the side here. We're going to bring in Starscream again, but taking a look at the head sculpt here, you can obviously see it's a different head sculpt here, different to Thundercracker as well as Skywarp. I love the nice smirk that he's got there. Very, very Starscream. Nice red for the eyes, gray for the face, black for the rest of the head as well. The cockpit looks fantastic. All this red, I really like how deep and rich this red feels. Nice on the null rays. They are clear plastic. Again, you can see there on the bottom of the peg, that's clear plastic painted gray, but it still looks good. Matches the gray relatively nicely. Coming down here, I mean, he just looks great. And again, what I love about this mold too is the fact that you can remove these little wings on the side and just put them on the back to give him a cleaner look. The best way to do parts satisfying in my opinion. And then he cleans up really, really well. Obviously, the Decepticon logos being upside down is a bit annoying, but overall, this is just a fantastic, representation of what we saw in the original G1 cartoon with our favorite Starscream. So I really, really love how this guy looks all around, and I'm so, so excited to have this guy in my collection, and I cannot wait to see what other figures they decide to do for this mold, because I will collect a lot of these Seekers, because I think having a Seeker-filled shelf is always really, really cool to have. So, what we're going to do, we're going to do a bunch of size comparisons. So we're going to set this guy off to the side, and we're going to raise the camera up because the other characters are quite, some of them are quite a bit taller than Starscream here. So, there's that. Here he is with the Transformers Legacy United Infernac Universe Deluxe Class Magnius, the Transformers Studio Series 86 Deluxe Class Bumblebee, the Transformers Studio Series 86 Deluxe Class Prowl, the Transformers Studio Series 86 Voyager Class Shockwave, the Transformers Studio Series 86 Leader Class Soundwave, the Transformers Studio Series 86 Commander Class Optimus Prime, his leader, the Transformers Studio Series 86 Leader Class Megatron. And here is the entire family photo. Here he is with both the Transformers Studio Series 86 Thundercracker as well as Skywarp, and man, these guys look incredible. And just like I did with the Earthrise ones, I'm going to, end up fading, and then you guys can see the differences between this and the Earthrise set. But man, this is the set. I mean, this is the best of each one of these characters in the main line, and they look simply fantastic together. I am so, so excited to have this family photo here in the actual, figure form. They just are the best representations of these characters from the G1 cartoon that we've ever seen, and I'm so excited not only to have this, but to get, the other characters hopefully in these molds from, Sunstorm, Iron Storm, Nova Storm, Acid Storm, Sunstorm, as well as, I think I said like 3 of them over and over again, but then Ramjet, Thrust, and Dirge, I really hope we do get those guys in this mold as well. Going to be really, really cool going forward. Very excited to see what else and what other characters that the Seeker mold ends up churning out for us. And here are the Earthrise ones, and like I said, this isn't a bad set of Seekers. These are really, really good, and if you're actually ever interested in buying them, I would not be opposed to selling these at some point, but regardless, what I'm trying to say here is that these are still solid for the trio of the original Seekers, but at the end of the day, in my opinion, there's still no difference between these. I think that the new Studio Series D6 Seekers absolutely smashed these out of the water, and I'm really, really happy to finally have them. Just wanted to show you the differences between them because they're pretty stark. Alrighty folks, now time to get into the articulation of this guy, and just like I said with Skywarp and Thundercracker, it's kind of like a weak point of this figure, but it's certainly better than the Earthrise one, and it's by no means terrible, but it's certainly limited, particularly in the waist, and we'll obviously get to that here. So taking a look at the articulation, head sculpt, you can absolutely look up and down. There's a full 360, but it's kind of hard to do it with the this crap in this kibble in the back here, but you can get it. Full 360 here at the shoulders, but obviously the wings block it. And then you have 90, a little more than 90, well, about 90 at the elbow, rotation the upper part of the elbow as well, upper part of the bicep, and then you have full wrist articulation, which is really nice. The waist is not full 360, but it's close enough. At least you're able to twist it at all, because in the Earthrise one, you are not able to do so. And then these little panels can go up a teeny bit, but you can kick forward, which also can lift the front skirt up, kick back about that far, 90-degree bend at the knee, rotation the upper part of the thigh, and then you have some decent ankle rocker pivot. So you can't get these guys into some insane poses, but it's nice enough to where you can get these guys definitely into some better poses, in my opinion, than when you compare them to the Earthrise ones. So they're really limited in the waist and in some other areas, but it's not too bad. And again, in my opinion, when it comes to the articulation, it's definitely an improvement over the Earthrise one, just not quite up to the standard that we necessarily expect today with a lot of figures, especially characters like Megatron and Soundwave and even Shockwave. Alrighty folks, and time to get into the reverse transformation, but just like I said in the Skywarp and Thundercracker reviews, particularly in the Skywarp one, if you wish to actually take a look at the reverse transformation, I'll provide links down below to both the Thundercracker and Skywarp reviews, but the Thundercracker review is the one that's going to have the actual reverse transformation. So again, link in the description, and also right now, link in the upper right if you wish to take a look at those reviews. But again, nothing too crazy. It's sort of like a modified version of the Earthrise one, but at the end of the day, it's a fun transformation. I have no major issues with it. And so we're going to take Starscream from looking like this in his jet mode, in his robot mode, and back into this in his jet mode. And so, guys, for my final concluding thoughts on the Transformers Studio Series 86 Voyager class Starscream, let's get the bad out of the way. Very similar to obviously Thundercracker and Skywarp, the jet mode, it's mainly the feet exposed in the back, as well as the fact that there's a huge gaping hole in the bottom of the jet, but because you're not going to be really looking at the bottom of the jet, it really doesn't matter in my opinion, I'm okay with it. And then when you get to the robot mode, obviously the hardest part is the waist articulation. It's still pretty limited, and you still have some limited articulation because of the nature of the design of a Seeker in general, but I'm not mad about it because it's still definitely an improvement over the Earthrise one. It's definitely not badly articulated, just definitely limited, especially when you're comparing it to the standard that we are expecting today with articulation, especially, like I said, with characters like Soundwave and Megatron and Optimus Prime, and even like Bumblebee as well. But there's one big issue that this figure has. It's a Target and a Hasbro Pulse exclusive, and that's quite a shame. Now, my thing is this. I understand why they made it an exclusive this time around, because if you really want me to be truthful with you, I genuinely think that they're going to be releasing a Transformers Studio Series 86 Leader Class Coronation Starscream 2.0, because if I'm not mistaken, the original Coronation gear is not compatible with this mold, and in addition to that, the only other way for you to access the throne is for you to have gotten the DCS 3-pack of Megatron, Shockwave, and Soundwave, and that's completely obsolete now because, well, we have Megatron's Shockwave as well as Soundwave in Studio Series 86. So getting that just for the throne alone is kind of a waste of money in my opinion, because if you're looking for the cartoon accurate molds, you're going to get them with the Studio Series 86 versions, and that's the Earthrise one, the Netflix one, and the Siege one, which is still the one that we have today, but it's definitely not the new molded Studio Series 86 Shockwave that we currently have in the main line right now. And so because of that, I understand why they made this an exclusive, because they're planning to release it like that, then it makes sense to give you access to getting the throne again, giving you some new Coronation gear, and giving you Starscream all in one. But at the end of the day, it's one of those things where, like, why introduce, like, the 1A level figure line where they're making the most popular characters very accessible, and then locking arguably your third most popular character in the entire franchise behind that? Because arguably it's like, you know, Optimus Prime and Bumblebee, and then like Megatron and Starscream, right, would be like top 4, right? And so for me to lock this character behind an exclusive is a real shame. Like I told you with Prowl, I'm more forgiving, because when I think of Carbots, I think more of Sideswipe as well as Sunstreaker first, more than Prowl, Smokescreen, and Bluestreak. And so I understand Prowl is okay because he's not as popular of a character either. So that I can forgive. But for this guy, it just kind of seems like more money. And obviously that's the obvious answer to why he's an exclusive too, but at the end of the day, it just doesn't rub me the right way. Like, Hasbro, come on, you have 1A level figures, put this guy in the main line, make him very available to everyone. He's arguably the third or fourth most popular character in the entire freaking franchise. Why would you lock him behind an exclusive like this? Because if I'm not mistaken, I remember buying this guy on Pulse as soon as Pulse let him be available, and he was sold out within the hour, like maybe even less than that. I wasn't paying attention after I was able to buy him. But yeah, it's really, really a big shame, because this is such a fantastic figure. And so, despite that, there's a lot to like about this. The Starscream colors look fantastic. I like the darker gray and the darker red. Those look really, really nice in the robot mode. The brighter red on the wings is also very nice. Obviously, the inaccuracy on the back wings is a bit unfortunate, but what are you going to do? It's not too bad. The Decepticon logos are very nice and poppy because of obviously the purple contrasting with the gray. You also just have a really nice new face sculpt. I really like the smirk. It's very Starscream here, obviously to contrast the open smiling mouth of Thundercracker as well as the big frown that Skywarp has. Really, really nice all around, and I think they did enough to differentiate this from Thundercracker and Skywarp. But obviously, as Transformers fans, we all know that the Seekers are just repaints and slight remolds of one another, so we've accepted that at this point, and it's, part of our, love for this franchise as a whole is Seeker repaints at the end of the day, right? And so, when I'm giving you this guy a score out of a 10, I believe I gave Thundercracker and Skywarp 8s or 9s, but regardless, I'm going to give this guy a 9. I do think he's really, really good, and the Starscream colors, I'm very biased to them. I really like them, really love his character. I think he's hilarious. And so at the end of the day, would I recommend picking this figure up? Just like I said with the Skywarp and Thundercracker reviews, at the end of the day, $40 is a fair bit, about 43, 44 after tax, and so I wouldn't necessarily recommend it right away because that's still quite expensive, especially with the economy nowadays here in the US. But at at the end of the day, I wouldn't put it past you if you didn't buy this guy right away and waited for the Coronation one either. But I still do recommend you buy this guy if you have the opportunity to buy him. Like if you have a Target close to you, you find this guy on the shelf, or if you were able to score on Hasbro Pulse, you're very, very lucky. Like including myself, was very lucky to score this guy and review him early. And I'm sorry about the instructions. I have my fan going, so that's blowing on the stupid instructions right now. But regardless, that's my, way that I would recommend and not recommend him at the same time. If I'm honest, if you didn't get this guy, don't worry. I assume, like I said, they're going to be releasing the Coronation Starscream relatively soon, so you can look forward to that more than likely. Again, that's what I'm personally thinking that they're going to do. So be on the lookout for something like that. And so that's really it for the review. So I thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch this video. Please like, comment, rate, and subscribe, and share this video with your friends. Also follow me in the socials. Those will be linked in the description below. And with that, guys, once again, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video review, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. Peace.